Good evening, everyone. For those of you that do not know me, I'm Alesha, the Select Board Admin. I'm excited to be here tonight. On behalf of myself and the Select Board, thank you to all of the candidates that are in attendance tonight. We appreciate your time in being here. Each candidate will be given 5 minutes to introduce themselves. When I start asking questions that have been submitted by citizens, each candidate will be given 2 minutes to answer. When you hear my timer go off, please wrap up your answer. If you need a question to be reread, please do not hesitate to ask. Before we get started, I know we will all agree to show respect to each candidate by allowing them to finish their comments without any interruptions. Each candidate will have the opportunity to be heard before we conclude this evening. Thank you again to each candidate, audience member, and citizen watching from home. Before we move into the questions, I'd like to invite the library trustees who are running for a 3-year term for their 5-minute introduction. Since there are no citizen questions directed at them tonight this evening. With us tonight, we have Dennis Crowley and Jen Morin. I will let Jen start.
Glasses for this. Good evening, and thank you all for giving me the opportunity to introduce myself. Some of you know me. My name is Jennifer Moran, and I'm running for the Library Board of Trustees. I moved to Limerick full-time in August of 2022, but prior to that, my husband and I had visited our house that we had purchased in 2011, every opportunity we could get to come up here. I've spent my career in publishing, medical publishing more specifically. I work for the Massachusetts Medical Society, which is the publisher of the New England Journal of Medicine. My primary role for the journal is to assist librarians with technical issues. We license our product to hospitals, universities, medical schools all over the world. And of course, we all know that nowadays things have become much more technical and digital. In addition to that, I also am the publisher contact for the U.S. Copyright Office in the Library of Congress. Because our content is protected by copyright, we do register our content with the U.S. Copyright Office. My sort of final role there is to grant permission. So I work in the intellectual property rights area for the journal. Because our content is protected by copyright, those who wish to reuse our content, so any of our graphics, figures, tables, those people have to come to us to get permission to reuse the content, whether it be in a textbook, another journal, or a pharma company. I came from a family of teachers, so in addition to receiving a degree in English, I also received a degree in elementary education. But upon graduating, I was not able to find a teaching job. So instead, I went towards publishing, and 35 years this July, I will have been working for the Mass Medical Society. I've always had a special fondness for libraries. I grew up down the road from a one-room schoolhouse that was converted into a branch library. I was able to walk to the library as a child, select my own books, eventually developing a knack to select books for others. I believe that libraries play an essential role in the community. I'm often surprised at how much libraries offer. For instance, here and tucked away on the second floor, there's a great resource for people that a lot of the town may not even know is available to them. It offers programs, as you know, for the very young, all the way through adulthood. And there are opportunities to do stuff elsewhere, explore local museums and parks, obtain books from other libraries through interlibrary loan, join a book club, or exhibit your art. So just want to say that Cindy and her team do a fantastic job. They make sure that the library is always engaged with the community. And as she said to me the other day, she has a book for everyone. So, thank you. Oh, no worries. My maiden name was harder. That one, no one ever
And now we will have Dennis come on up.
Good evening, and thank you for attending. My name is Dennis Crowley, and I'm seeking re-election to the Board of Trustees for the Limerick Public Library, where I have proudly served for the last 4 years. As a 21-year resident of Limerick, the library has been important to me. As far as my education and employment goes, I graduated from Northeastern University in Boston with a Bachelor of Engineering Technology degree, and I have worked 29 years in Boston for Verizon, and then 14 years up here for OTT Communications and the telecommunications industries. And once I retired finally from both of those jobs, I started working as a seasonal driver for J.P. Carroll to keep myself busy. I'm a firm believer in the benefits of having a good public library. I've had a library card since I was in grammar school, and I've used the library regularly. I have used the library during my career and schoolwork for a lot of research and a lot of educational processes. And I firmly believe that the library is a great source of information. I feel because of the library over the years, I understand what is important for the library to have available, because I've used it, I've been there, I've used it for all sorts of, basically everything that it provides. The computer room, the computers, the research desks and whatever, so I feel as though, yes, I've used them for many years, so I know what I was looking for in there, so I feel as though I can administer to that for the public. With the changing times of technology, I understand the library must change and adapt to the new environments where everything is coming online and people are getting away from paper books and stuff. The library needs to change. When I was with the telecommunications companies, most of my work was in the tech field. I was in the computer programming side. So I feel as though, I can work properly to help keep the library up to date with these changes. I'm comfortable making these changes. I don't feel as though we have to keep the library, focused on plain paperback books. We need to keep that expanded. So I feel strongly that we should be able to do that. I feel as though I can continue to work with the library directors and the rest of the other trustees to make sure the library is keeping up to date with processes and available services. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. There's one other candidate on the list running for the library trustees, which is Jessica Nguyen. So you'll be able to pick 2 out of 3 of those on voting day. I do have a note to read real quick from Anastasia Ferguson. Good evening, Limerick residents. My name is Anastasia Ferguson, and I'm running for the RSU 57 Board of Directors position. I apologize for not being there tonight, but I was not feeling well and didn't want to spread my germs around. I've been a board member for RSU 57 for the past 9 years. I've attended lots of trainings to better myself as a board of director. I've always done my best to support and make the decisions for our students, staff, and all that employees RSU 57. I've been involved with RSU 57 since my oldest started at Line School and has since graduated from Massabesic High. I still have a child in high school and one currently in kindergarten at Line. I've been involved in this community with various things like our Line School PTC and the Limerick Recreation Department. If you would like to learn more about our district, I encourage you to come to any board meeting as well as any public informational session on Monday, as well as the public informational session on Monday, February 9th at 6:30 p.m. in the Massabesic East Building. This information session will review the Maine Department of Education subsidy calculation to explain how the fund balance is determined and to answer any questions from the public. Thank you for your time, and I would appreciate your support March 13th. Thank you. Okay, here we go. So I will begin with a list of questions. I will rotate through candidates, so each has the opportunity to respond first, and we'll keep it fair. We received 37 questions from citizens, so just great. So let's begin. I will give you your 5 minutes to introduce yourself, say anything you'd like at the beginning, and then we will start the questions. So Lori, go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Lori Harmon. My husband and I and one of my daughters and granddaughter moved to Limerick in 2020. I went to school and got my 4-year degree in criminal justice with a concentration in legal studies. I have been a paralegal for 24 years now, and I currently work with an attorney who specializes in and does a lot of real estate work, and I'm, of course, doing all of the background, working with various towns throughout the state, getting municipal liens, release deeds done, and doing a lot of title work, researching properties, that kind of thing. We set our roots down here because we wanted to be part of a small community. I have been on the budget committee for 3.5 years now, and I am running because I just want to continue to help the town in any way I can.
Perfect. Do you want me to call you Walter or Rick?
That's fine.
Okay,
Yeah.
Walter, go ahead.
Yeah. A fifth generation of Limerick. I grew up a little bit here as a child and again as a teenager, and I came back in 2020. I've spent the last 40 years working for power companies from Canada, all over the United States, mostly the East Coast and Puerto Rico. I've run some pretty good jobs, big-sized jobs, multi-million-dollar jobs. I've also run some businesses on the seacoast of New Hampshire, general manager's positions, large subdivisions, road construction, any underground utilities. And I'm hoping that with the growth of the town moving forward, that I could contribute to a large part of that. I see a lot of subdivisions, people coming in from out of town, doing the subdivisions, and unfortunately, the residents get stuck with more cost, road plowing, sidewalks, and school costs for children. I think there should be some implements put on new housing if you're going to be a developer and come into the town of Limerick. If you're going to leave with pockets full of money, then I don't think we should be burdened with everything, so hopefully I can help if elected.
Perfect. Wade?
Wade Andrews, longtime resident of Limerick. I graduated in 1986 from the University of Connecticut, animal science. My family, for 50 years now, has run a family farm. My brother and I have a small logging operation, just the two of us. I was involved for 15 years with school sports between baseball, wrestling, and football. A lot to do right here in town. I love the community, love the town, very proud of it, and I'm running for the two-year select board position. And I've got 3 grown children, 3 grown stepchildren, and 7 grandchildren now, and they're all here, so I want to make sure that the town remains a place where they want to stay and live.
Perfect. Jared?
Gerald Gilpatrick, lifelong resident here, born here in town. When my children were younger, I was a Cub Scout leader, then Boy Scouts and 4-H. I spent my career at the Portsmouth Naval Shipyard. I rose to the level of radiological supervisor before retiring in the pipe covering department. When I left the yard, I was elected to the presidency of the Maine Association of Agricultural Fairs. We oversaw all 25 agricultural exhibits in the state of Maine. Leaving that position, terming out, I served 2 years as legislative liaison for Maine Agricultural Fairs and got a great experience of legislature and the body in which it works. My daughter and son both live here in town. I also have 4 grandchildren who live here and hope to continue to see Limerick grow and prosper and be the warm, healthy community that I've experienced.
Great. Clifton or Bud?
Bud.
Bud, perfect. You're good.
All right, so my name is Bud Finch. I was originally a Scarborough resident, graduate, entered the military right out of high school, did my time in the United States Army, retired at Fort Gordon, opened my own transmission shop down there, bought a franchise. We decided to come home because our family was here and we'd had our first child. So we moved back here in 2003. We've been here ever since, over on the lake. My daughter's here. I've worked many different jobs in the military. I've owned my own business. I have a part-time business now that caters strictly to performance transmissions. I've worked in the automotive industry, running service departments, working with parts departments, so I'm well-versed with bidding processes, contracts, and stuff like that. I know how to run a budget, especially if you have your own business, and my biggest goal is to see the town remain someplace that we want to live, and my daughter wants to stay here with our grandson. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, guys. So as just a reminder, you are going to get 2 minutes for each question that I've asked. When you hear my timer go off, just wrap up your answer, and do not hesitate to ask if you need me to reread. A couple of them have multiple parts, so that's totally fine. All right, Bud, we will start with you on the first question. How would you handle a disagreement among board members while still ensuring that town business moves forward?
That's a good one. First of all, I think that if the disagreement happens during a board meeting, it needs to be quelled right then. If you have to have a discussion about it, it should be between those parties, and it shouldn't, dirty laundry should not be aired amongst the town and amongst other towns that have a tendency to watch our board meetings. Respect is huge, and I'll leave it at that.
Okay. Jerry, do you want me to reread it? Or you?
No.
Okay, perfect.
A disagreement between board persons, I would hope that they would be respectful of one another and our community and realize their position and quell their agreement until they could hold it in a civil manner, perhaps. If they had to take it to an executive session, so be it. But I really believe that persons that are elected to the board are persons that are of a professional nature and would not air such behavior.
Okay. Wade?
Well, first off, we are here to serve the people, and not everybody's going to agree or on everything, but we need to remain professional, and we're here to do business for the town, and that should be first and foremost over any personal or any other issue. We're here to do what the town needs done.
Perfect. Walter?
I think communication's the key with any team, whether it's a construction team or a board. Things just need to be talked out, and hopefully they can be resolved in a respectful manner.
Perfect. Lori?
Well, the job of the select board, of having numerous people on, is to have various viewpoints. There's going to be disagreements. Hopefully, everybody can handle themselves respectfully and keep it to the point, and they should discuss the issues. If they're having a disagreement on something, they should discuss it, and they should discuss their viewpoints and be able to explain why, as long as it's done civilly and respectfully. At the end of the day, they're going to vote on the issues, and that's why we have an odd number of people on the board for the town. It's because not everybody is going to agree.
Okay, great. Jerry, we'll start with you on this one. What are your top 3 priorities if elected?
Transparency being one, encouraging the citizens of the town to be more involved in the community as far as voicing their opinions in a civil manner and working with the select board, and overall maintenance and protecting our infrastructure from our buildings to our highways and bridges.
Great. We just start getting little comments from home that people can't hear, so just make sure you move your microphones a little closer, or just make sure you're speaking more into them, because what you're saying is very important. So, Wade, what are your top 3 priorities if elected?
First and foremost, to rectify the situation we have with our audits and our books for 2024. We also have 2025 coming up, which hopefully doesn't take as long, and we can get that resolved. And help with the growth of the town as far as we've got a lot of people moving in. We just need to plan ahead with a comprehensive plan or whatever, and we need to move ahead and plan for down the road. And just transparency, and as far people need to start getting along in town, and work what's best for the people.
Perfect. Walter?
I think it's important that we don't lose sight of the town, Limerick, the old town feeling, and make it a priority for elderly people that can be, make sure it doesn't become unaffordable for them to be able to stay here, and stay in their homes that they've lived here for forever, and keep control of our growth so it doesn't put the burden on our now residents, so that doesn't happen, so that they don't get pushed out.
Great. Lori, are you good? Do you need me to repeat it?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay, you're good.
First one is transparency. The second is, it's going to be, well, it is, and I just totally spaced out. But really, I would love to see our audits get completed so that the town knows where they're at financially before we continue to spend and spend and spend, because there are low-income people in this town, and there are higher income, and not everybody can afford the same thing. So we really have to watch out for everybody in this town. The other one is, I would love to try to find a way to help the town work together. The town offices, there's so much animosity going on. I would love to find a way to kind of bridge everything, or find a way so that everybody can communicate with everybody and be respectful with each other.
Great. Okay, Wade, how will you ensure fair and consistent decision-making?
Well, in any decision that I would make, it would be what was in the best interest of the town. There's times when we would have to vote on stuff, whether I agree with it or not. If the majority of the people in the town want that, then it's would be our job to make sure that everything was done affordable and to the best job that could be done for whatever that particular thing was.
Okay, great. Walter?
When it comes to bidding contracts, I think we need to reach out a little further. Maybe that'll change some of the problems that we're having, disgruntled problems, and just all these odd questions all the time. So, yeah, just more bidding. Let's reach out to more companies so that we know the town's getting the best price for their product on whatever we're doing.
Okay, great. Lori?
Putting personal feelings aside and stepping outside the box to look at what's best for the town.
Perfect. Bud?
All right, so going back to the second question that you skipped over me on.
Oh my gosh.
The
I
three
apologize.
things, number one, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but definitely transparency. Two, talking to the actual townspeople to find out what their concerns are. As it's been said several times, we're here elected by the townspeople, and we need to do their bidding. So we need to know what their concerns are before we start voting, okay? And the third part is we really need to figure out how all of these departments in the town of Limerick can work together without animosity, finger pointing, name calling, and all the other stuff that's been going on. What was this? What was the third question?
That was completely my mistake. The question is, how will you ensure fair and consistent decision-making?
Again, talking to the people. We need to make ourselves available to the townspeople, and it doesn't matter when it is. We need to know what their concerns are, and we need to do their bidding so that the town is run the way that they want it run.
Okay, great. Walter, will you be taking any of the workshops recommended by Maine Municipal Association? For example, the select board members should take the elected officials workshop, a budget workshop, and understanding the Freedom of Access Act. Also, are you aware that MMA has a published notebook which outlines the responsibilities of a select board member? This is updated annually and paid for by the town of Limerick.
Well, I would be willing to take some classes with the budget, on the budget part of it. Yes.
Lori?
I have already taken the Freedom of Access Act course or workshop with them. I'm always open to taking extra courses and classes because you never stop learning, and it's important.
Perfect.
Oh,
Bud?
and sorry.
Go ahead.
As for the MMA manual, yes, I have actually already been reading.
Perfect. Bud? Of course. Will you be taking any of the workshops recommended by Maine Municipal Association? For example, the select board members should take the elected officials workshop, budget workshop, and understanding the Freedom of Access Act. Also, are you aware that MMA has a published notebook which outlines the responsibilities of a select board member? This is updated annually and paid for by the town of Limerick.
So yes, anything that's required or anything that's recommended as far as classes go, I've already taken the Freedom of Access one because of being on the appeals board. But anything else that's required, I would take it. I've seen the book, I've heard of the book, but I have not seen the book for the select person. But yes, I would read it, most definitely.
Perfect. Jerry?
Yes, I do have a copy of the select board book. I found it tremendously interesting to read. There's so many articles that pertain to, as a legislative liaison, and it was great to have the refresher. And as far as taking any courses, I feel that as a representative on the select board, that a person should be as knowledgeable as they possibly can to be able to serve the people of the town to the best of their ability.
Great. Wade?
Yes, the elected official ones, every year you have to take that, and the new book comes out. I don't know if we should get those again this year, but any new selectman gets those, and when they're updated, we get new copies. So, yes.
Perfect. All right, Lori, this is a three-part question. Should a town official, either elected or appointed, criticize or make false statements about other town officials or town employees on social media or in a public setting? Should any town employee or official use social media to discuss town business? And should the town have an enforceable policy against any official who does so?
Okay, for your first question, no, there should not be negative talking about any town official by any official, employee, appointed official, and no, town business should not be discussed on social media. That's not the place for it. If there's concerns, if there's complaints, it should be brought directly to the select board or at a meeting, brought up at a meeting if there's an issue. What was the third part of that?
The third one was, should the town have an enforceable policy against any official who does so?
Yes, there should be consequences for actions. Absolutely. And social media is not the place to be airing dirty laundry, especially with town business. So yes, there should be consequences.
Okay, perfect. Bud?
So for the first two, that would be an emphatic no. You don't need to be out there doing that. That's what, I'll leave it at that. There's no mudslinging. And as far as the third one goes, yes, there should be a policy that's enforceable, and if somebody decides that they want to go out there and sling mud, then there should be consequences for it.
Okay. Jerry?
First off, people that feel that they need to express themselves in a negative manner should stop and look at their own self and think about the impact that it would have on their entire community, not just the focused person. So they should be a no, and on both of those a no, but because people need, if a person is an elected representative of the town of Limerick, of the residents of Limerick, no matter who they are, they should be at a level of respect for each individual citizen of the town. And as far as a policy, people need to be held accountable for their actions.
Okay. Wade?
I think they should be held accountable. The answer is no. I don't have social media, or I don't have Facebook, so you won't have to worry about me putting anything on there.
Okay. And Walter?
I would say no to the first one, and definitely no to the second one. Town information is, business is not, it's not the place to be. And the third one, I think yes. I just think we'd have to be guided correctly in that. It's gonna take some work to make sure that we're doing it correctly.
Okay, perfect. Bud, as a select board member, do you think it is appropriate to act individually on town matters or deal with town citizens and not keep all board members informed?
That's kind of a double-edged sword. If a citizen comes to you and you talk to them, then that would be, you would end up having a conversation with them first before you talk to the rest of the board members, but I would not act on that.
Okay. Jerry?
If a citizen presented themselves, you should be open-minded and listen to that citizen. Again, clarity and openness to the community, but the select board is the board that is chosen to hear all of the citizens, not just one particular person.
Okay, perfect. Wade?
Yes, if you, you should become available. I get a lot of, or the select board will get a lot of calls, and you would, I would hear the call, and I would point them in the direction. Usually it's to the department head of the question they have, whether it be road commissioner or whatever. Yeah, I think we should.
Walter?
Yeah, we definitely need to listen to the citizens and their concerns, and that should be followed up with the other selectmen and discussed amongst the select board. But nobody should ever go out on their own and do something without, that being okayed or...
And Lori?
Every citizen in the town of Limerick should be comfortable going to any one of the select board persons if they have a problem or an issue. Should it be discussed with the rest of the board? Absolutely. But of course, it's not going to happen 90% of the time, 99% of the time, until there's a board meeting, because you can't meet with, or you can't have meetings with each other outside of the public meetings. But absolutely, issues need to be dealt with by the board as a whole, because we're supposed, the select board is supposed to be a unit working together.
Okay, perfect. Okay, this one, Jerry. Do you think it is appropriate to direct a town employee or employees in their performance of work without getting their immediate supervisor, department head, or department liaison involved first?
No. The 33 years I worked for the Navy, there was a order of decor. And so many times I keep reflecting on levels of respect. If a person on the select board is asked to direct a town employee to do something, then it should be the tier in which the select board person should consult the board, then consult the employee's supervisor, and so forth and so on.
Okay, perfect. Wade?
Absolutely not. They should not go out on their own and, confront or anything. It should be brought so that everybody knows what's going on, and if need be, have an executive session about it. But no, should not go out on your own to discuss or anything else with an employee.
Okay. Walter?
I would say discuss it amongst the select board and then take it to the department head and let them handle it from there after there's agreement made with amongst the select board.
Lori?
Will you read the question again?
Of course. Do you think it is appropriate to direct a town employee or employees in their performance of work without getting their immediate supervisor, department head, or department liaison involved first?
If it's a personnel issue, it should be discussed with the rest of the select board which should then go into executive session to discuss the matter and how to handle it with that specific employee or official.
Okay, perfect. Bud?
One more time, repeat it.
No, of course. Do you think it is appropriate to direct a town employee or employees in their performance of work without getting their immediate supervisor, department head, or department liaison involved first?
Okay, so the way I understand that question is, you're wanting to know if I believe that's appropriate, and no. In life, as in the military, we always had a chain of command, and there was something that you had to follow. If it was something egregious, then you would have a meeting and talk amongst the board members and then take it to that person's department head, but you would not go directly to the employee. That's not what we're here for.
Okay, great. Wade, do you feel it is okay for a candidate or a citizen to criticize the current select board publicly over any existing contract language?
Well, they're entitled to their opinion, whether or not it's right or not. I would say if they have a question about it, then that would be something that we would have to discuss. You said as the language?
Yeah, do you feel it is okay for a candidate or citizen to criticize the current select board publicly over any existing contract language?
Well, they can voice their opinion, but that would maybe something that we would have to discuss as a board.
Okay. Walter?
I feel exactly the same way. It's, they have their opinion, I mean, they have their right for that, but we could take a look at it and see if there was anything wrong, and if not, then we'd continue. If it was, then we'd make changes.
Okay, perfect. Lori?
Well, if they feel that there is an issue with the contract, they should absolutely bring it up to the select board and make it known that they believe there's an issue, so that the select board could take appropriate steps to ensure the town is covered under the contract and to make sure that it's a valid, solid contract.
Okay. Bud?
So as a candidate, no, I don't believe it's my position to slander anybody or do any of that. As far as a citizen goes, if they have questions, then yes, they should be asking the questions to get the answers that they're looking for.
Okay, great. And Jerry?
As a candidate, they should not be asking about contracts. As a citizen, they have the right to voice their opinion and ask about contracts, but they should ask the board and not put it on social media, because in my view, they do not have all the facts when things are posted, and things get blossomed way out of perspective. And so I would encourage people not to do that, but again, that people have the freedom to speak.
Okay, great. All right, Walter. Since it is required of all town employees to pass a background check, should the same standards apply to town officials, elected or appointed?
Say that again?
I'm wondering, it's slow. Wiz says, since it is required of all town employees to pass a background check, should the same standards apply to town officials, elected or appointed? I would say more it's elected, because
I would say
they're
yes,
appointed there.
because they are in a sense an employee to the town, so I would say yes.
Okay. Lori?
Absolutely.
Bud?
I don't see any reason why not.
Jerry?
Anyone receiving taxpayer funds for services should, absolutely.
And Wade?
Yes.
Perfect. I didn't even need the 2-minute timer on that one. All right, Lori. Are you in favor of the fire department budget as recommended by current Board of Select Persons? The current total budget is $850,000. The 2025 was $831,410. If no, why not?
Well, that one's an easy one for me. No, I was not in favor of the fire department budget. I believe that there is overspending right now. I think with the town not really knowing exactly where our financial situation is, that we needed to rein back the spending and just do increases on pay as, you know, with the COLA and the associated increases, and everything else needed to be zeroed out and stay level.
Okay. Bud?
I'm not that well versed on it, but I do feel that the fire department has been a serious drain on the town of Limerick. We've got a huge fire department that's, in my opinion, as a citizen, is overkill. And I think it's gotten a little bit out of hand.
Okay. Jerry?
I have not seen the breakdown of the budget, the expenditures of the fire department. I do agree that the persons serving in the fire department deserve a COLA, and that portion of the budget I would approve, but without looking at the budget and the breakdown of expenditures, anything beyond COLA increases in pay, I could not support at this time.
Okay. Wade?
Yes, I voted yes, and the taxpayers in town overwhelmingly voted for a full-time fire and rescue, and they risked their life, and they're saving lives, and we need to support them, and anything that they need for safety equipment or anything, if they're going to do the job for us, they need to have it.
Walter?
I'm going to say yes, but at the same time, I'd like to see what we have for money to actually work with before anything is paid or checks are written out. It's okay to set forth a budget, but until I see what was on the bottom line for money in there, I wouldn't feel comfortable writing a check.
Okay. All right, Bud. This is just a yes or no answer. For the publicly advertised candidates meet and greet this weekend, were you as a candidate running for select board invited to attend?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Wade?
No.
Walter?
No.
Lori?
Yes.
Okay. All right, Jerry. The Select Board has a policy called Hearing of Citizens, which allows citizens to speak at a Select Board meeting at a scheduled segment during the meeting. Do you agree that citizens should be allowed to speak at a Select Board meeting?
Yes.
Okay. Wade?
Yes, absolutely.
Walter?
Yes. Yes.
Lori?
Yes.
And Bud?
Yes, as long as it doesn't turn into a sideshow.
Okay. Wade, do you favor accepting the proposed comprehensive plan that was a part of the town charter? Why or why not?
Yes, I do. I read it a long time ago, but I'm not sure, I haven't read it recently, but we do need a comprehensive plan, and we need to start somewhere, and the one that was in the charter would be a start. It can be changed.
Okay. Walter?
I would say yes, but I would also say that I need more information on that subject.
Okay. Lori?
The town does need a comprehensive plan, and I think that's something that we need to work towards. We're not at that point where we I don't believe we're at the point where we need a town manager yet. We need to get things under control as they are now. If we were a much larger town, I would absolutely be for that, but I think working towards that because we are growing. So it's going to be a matter of getting that plan together and just working towards that.
Okay, great. Bud?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Of
again?
course. Do you favor accepting the proposed comprehensive plan that was a part of the town charter? Why or why not?
I would have to say yes, as long as it's amendable. And if I'm not mistaken, it was something that the townspeople voted on.
Jerry?
I did vote for the comprehensive plan in the charter. I read the plan. It was well drafted. The wording did leave an opening to adjust the charter. I'm under the understanding that a new charter is being a new board of persons to work on a new comprehensive plan. I feel that's exciting, and the town is moving in the right direction.
Perfect. Okay. Walter, are you in favor of hiring a town manager or town administrator? Why or why not?
I would like to have a discussion and investigate the pros and cons of that. Yes.
Okay. Lori?
I don't really think the town is quite at the size where we need one, and I don't think financially we're at a point where we could take on that high of a salary for another position without having all the information first.
Okay. Bud?
I don't believe we're at that point yet, and if I'm not mistaken, the town voted on whether or not we wanted 3 or 5 select persons, so that the workload could be spread out, and they voted on 5 individuals. So at this time, I would say, I don't believe the town needs it, and I don't know if we could really absorb that kind of a payroll.
Okay. Jerry?
I don't feel that we need a town manager at this point. Speaking with other municipalities that are of equal size to ours, that have expressed regret for having a town manager for a community our size.
Okay. And Wade?
Yes, I do. I think that some of the jobs that he would take on would take away from other people that we hire to do the job. He would be able to step in, and for the cost of getting a town manager, I think in the long run, we'd end up saving money. And with the amount of work that we have to do in the town, we're growing so fast that I really think something that we really should look into.
Okay. Great. Lori, can you give me the total budget figure for the town of Limerick?
Nope, I cannot.
Bud?
I cannot.
Jerry?
No?
Wade?
It's a little over 8 million.
And Walter?
No.
Okay. All right. Bud, shall the town treasurer position change from elected to appointed? Why or why not?
There's been so much conversation about this. I think elected would be good. Then the people that are running for it could do the same thing that we're doing. They could talk to the town, they could put out their qualifications, and then they could be put on the ballot and be elected.
Okay. Jerry?
In the current status, I believe elected is the way to go. I would like, though, and in the future, I got to agree, we do need a manager in the future as the population grows. at that point, we would need to look at hiring and not electing.
Okay. Wade?
Question again?
Of course. Shall the town treasurer position change from elected to appointed? Why or why not?
Appointed. The only requirements to be elected is they have to be 18 years old and a resident of the United States or a resident of Maine, and we could get anybody. If we were to hire the position, I would hope that we would have a number of people that would step up and be well qualified, and we could pick who we wanted, and instead of just getting anybody, I mean, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Walter?
Appointed. I would prefer appointed in that position.
And why?
If things didn't work out for the best interest of the town, we would have a better foot standing on legally to move forward with a different direction.
Okay. Lori?
Appointed, as Wade said, the requirements to run for the position are minimal. If it's appointed, the select board or down the road town manager, whoever, they can set the requirements for the job that they're looking for, and they can weed out candidates and hopefully determine the best person for the job. And if for some reason it doesn't work out, they aren't able to do the job, they just don't get along with anybody, anything could happen, then the town can take their steps to relieve that position.
Okay, perfect. Jerry, what are your thoughts regarding having a meeting room for 150 to 175 people before we spend a large amount of funds on a parking lot that will not accommodate the town meeting needs? Currently, these meetings are being held at a fire department where there is limited parking available. Would you consider an addition to the municipal building or move to a new location?
That's, like Bud says, a double-edged sword. This building that we meet in currently, its parking situation with erosion and the structure of the building and long-term, so we are in a situation where we need both. And I think that the select board and the planning board and the budget committee would have to work together to see which funds would best serve the citizens.
Okay. Wade?
Question again?
Of course. What are your thoughts regarding having a meeting room for 150 to 175 people before we spend a large amount of funds on a parking lot that will not accommodate the town meeting needs? Currently, these meetings are being held at a fire department where there is limited parking available. Would you consider an addition to the municipal building or move to a new location?
Yes, I would. If, for instance, tonight, if we had more than 49 people, we would have to find another room to go to. We really don't have any place for large numbers of people. We're lucky that we've been able to use the fire department. But I think if work on something that we could do, maybe an addition on the back here before we pave or whatever. It's just something to think of down the road, but we're in pretty good need of it.
Walter?
Yes, before we bring in $650,000 project here on this parking lot, which has been proposed, a lot can be done for a lot less money if that's all we want to do is get the water away from this building. And I think that if you combine the two projects of fixing the parking area, and yeah, you could add a building onto the back of this one here, have a separate wing, at a ground floor. And that would make it a lot easier for people to come in and out, the older people and the handicapped people. It's definitely a future project.
Okay, Lori?
In a perfect world,
Yeah.
we would have a new location with a new building that's energy efficient, plenty of parking, had meeting rooms. Do we need to change, does something need to change? Absolutely. Because we need someplace where people can go to the meetings, they can go to the special hearings, they can, to the special town votes without worrying about parking. Because when it's at the fire department, we all know, the parking is horrible over there. Here, there's not really sufficient parking and there's not a big enough room. So I think it would all boil down to what it would cost to modify, if we did, versus selling or, and building somewhere else.
Bud?
If you're asking whether or not you should build the room first that can accommodate all these people before figuring out where everybody's going to park, I'm going to say no. That doesn't make any sense.
Would you consider an addition to this building or moving to a new location?
Well, you're talking about parking here, so even if you add on to this building, you still have to figure out parking.
You'd still be parking first,
So
okay.
here comes the funds again that the townspeople have got to dole out to do this. And you would definitely have to have meetings and figure out where you're looking at buying property or another building where you can do this. I mean, we don't have an unlimited bank account in this town. And at times it almost seems like, or it feels like, that's what some people think, is we just dole the money out, and that's not the way it works.
Okay, thank you. All right, Wade, would you be in favor of hiring a competent bookkeeper who would have full access to the town books and report to the select board only, so that the select board could have confidence in the town finances?
Yes.
Walter?
At this point, I think that would be in the right direction. But if you have a town manager, you certainly probably wouldn't need that either. So,
Okay.
but yes.
Lori?
Are we talking, I'm going to ask this, are we talking in addition to the treasurer or replacing the treasurer?
I believe it's in addition, but I don't want to speak to the question. I can reread it if you want.
Please.
Yeah, of course. Would you be in favor of hiring a competent bookkeeper who would have full access to the town books and report to the select board only, so that the select board could have confidence in the town finances?
That one's a double-edged sword for me. Because then you're looking for more costs. How many hours are we looking at? How many, what are we going to pay this person? Are they going to be able to help do the audits? Are they going to, it's a loaded, do I think that an additional bookkeeper is necessary? No, I think we need to get through these audits and get those done before we look at adding any more
Okay,
people on.
thank you. Bud?
No, I don't believe that kind of authority is warranted. If you don't have faith in the person that's actually the treasurer, then you should look at making a change. But hiring another person, adding another payroll, giving them that kind of authority where they don't have to answer the treasurer, only to the select board, no. That's just going to create more problems and more animosity.
And Jerry?
I I feel that we have a treasurer. We currently have a treasurer. If we can get through these audits and get on a even playing field, even get through this situation that we're in, and perhaps hire a bookkeeper. I don't know the cost. No, I don't support no, I guess, and thinking deeper, no, I would not support a separate bookkeeper.
Okay, thank you. Walter, what issues prompted you to want to serve at this time in the capacity of a select person?
The growth of the town, and my experience with, with electrical fields and subdivisions, business parks, in the money that us as residents are getting basically stuck with when people come in and do a subdivision, and they fill their pockets full of money, and they're leaving the burden on us. And that means $18,000 for every child. It means more roads to plow, more sidewalks, bigger contracts. So, yeah, I think my experience will help in that manner.
Lori?
I think some impact fees on the housings is going to be necessary to help the existing residents, so we don't get stuck with that burden.
Great.
Will you
Lori?
repeat the
Of course. What issues prompted you to want to serve at this time in the capacity of select person?
Well, ultimately, my budget committee term is up at this point, or will be in March. And with the positions being open, I wanted to continue to work with the town. And I've, over the years, working on the budget committee, I have seen the issues going back and forth, the fighting, the allegations, and I just, if I'm not going to be on the budget committee, then this is a position that I feel like I could help the town with.
Great. Bud?
I don't want to be derogatory, but I guess it's the direction that we're heading in. I know that there was talk a while ago about a moratorium on some of the building that was going on in the town, as how fast it was growing. I don't know if anything ever happened with that. I haven't heard anything. As Walter's saying, the burden that's landing on the citizens here is just, it's every year, it just continues to snowball and go and go and go. I'm hoping that I might be able to bring a little bit of level-headedness to what's going on and work to make the town better. That's all.
Great, thank you. Jerry?
Could you repeat that again?
Of course, no, anytime. What issues prompted you to want to serve at this time in the capacity of select person?
To choose one issue would be very difficult, but I would like to see the select board respond to the citizens in a very open, transparent way and be considerate and respectful to all the citizens and have the courage to turn down the tone of rhetoric.
Okay, great. Wade?
I decided to run again after the budget process with everything that we've gone through, and they were all aware of what we were going through with the audits and with the finances, with the books of the town. And I just felt that after several meetings that the select board took the brunt of it, that we were all basically incompetent, and I just felt that I wanted to see this through and get on to the 2025 audit, and hopefully that goes much better. And also, I'd like to help on the growth of the town. We've got a lot of people moving in, and I just don't want to see things in town go so that we lose what we have here.
Great. So we're halfway there. Do we need to take a break? Does anybody need to use the restroom? Do we want to keep going? We're good? Okay, great. Lori, after reviewing the town's financials, what jumps out to you that needs improvement?
Spending? Less spending? Until we have everything in the right account where it needs to be, it's hard, it's almost impossible to say where the town is at financially with certainty. And, you know, the auditors continue to come back to make changes. They've completed 2023. They've completed and then reopened 2024. You know, it jumps out at me more that money is not in the accounts where it's supposed to be.
Okay. Bud?
I would have to agree with Lori. That's the biggest thing. I don't know how you can even figure out how much money this town has. There's so many accounts.
Okay. Jerry?
The frustration of the auditing team that we have and the constant changing, going from one direction to another and one account to another without clarity, and clearing up one account and bringing it to light and moving on to the next. The whole audit team is a big issue.
Okay. Wade?
Well, everybody says we have enough money, that the money is there, that's in the wrong accounts. We have money that hasn't been transferred over. We have all the land sale money that we don't know what account it's in. We know we have it, but we don't know where it is. So that's a major red flag, I would think, for anybody.
Okay. And Walter?
Less spending always, but until we know what we've got exactly in each account, and maybe we can get rid of a few accounts. Maybe we don't need so many, you know? It'd be easier to keep track of.
Okay, great. Bud, how many hours a week do you think will be necessary to oversee the issues that the select board faces on a weekly basis?
That's per week. Probably going to have to put in anywhere from 12 to 16 minimum.
Okay. Jerry?
Yeah, 16 to 20 hours.
Okay. Wade?
It should take about 12 hours a week. There's some weeks where it's less. There's some weeks where it could be, like they said, 18 to 20 hours. But it varies different. Depends on what's going on, how many meetings we got. Some weeks we have 3 meetings a week at a couple hours apiece. So it's a lot of time after the fact, and, you know, going here to check this out or check a road out or whatever. There's a lot of that too.
Okay. Walter?
I would say 10 to 15 hours. It all just depends how heavy the workload is, what time of year it is, and what's going on, you know, for activities around town.
And Lori.
10 to 15 hours, not including the select board meeting nights.
Okay, great. Jerry, what does "in the best interest of the town" mean to you?
In the best interest of the town, I would have to go back to infrastructure and clarity for citizens and encouragement of citizen participation. Those would be the best interests for the town.
Okay. Wade?
The best interest of the town to me would mean that the majority of the voters, they're getting what they voted for, and they're getting it done with the best quality, as inexpensive as we can get it done, and just to make the overall life of the people in town for their tax dollars get the most out of it.
Okay. Walter?
I'm going to say just in general, the quality of life for the residents and the enjoyment and not going broke to do it.
Lori?
Best interest of the town, to me, is what the majority of the people want and what they want to pay for, trying to make everybody's life better. I know, as the select board is never going to make absolutely everybody happy, but the overall, we have to do everything, the board has to do things with the best cost for the value. If that came out right, sorry. Just because something is the cheapest, of course, we know is not always going to be the best, but we still want to get it as inexpensive as we can for the quality. And really just try to make this town a really good place to live for years to come.
Great. Bud?
So to me, it would be making sure that we communicate with the residents and the taxpayers and acting in their best interest, plain and simple.
Okay, great, guys. Wade, what do you perceive to be the town's challenges in the next 3 years?
Getting our books straightened around, handling the growth in this town, and communicating better with the people and having more people in town get involved and want to get involved. People are they come home from work, they got to get the kids to basketball or whatever, but I'd like to see more people get involved, and it's nice to have a meeting with more than 2 or 3 people at. So, yeah, that would be it.
Okay, great. Walter?
I would say the growth of the town, and also the priority is we got to get the book straightened out. And, we owe $1.8 million on a firehouse that I think if it's any way possible, we should try to pay that down a little bit ahead of time, beat some interest. The rates are dropping. Keep an eye on the rates, the financial rates with the banks. Maybe we can do a refine, whatever it takes to beat the bank out of some money and get this paid down, $1.8 million, before we take on another large project. Would be nice to get some of that paid down.
Lori?
Will you repeat it?
Of course. What do you perceive to be the town's challenges in the next 3 years?
Over the next 3 years, I think addressing the growth is going to be a huge one, because the town is growing at a rapid pace. But community involvement not only at meetings, hearings, votes, but at community events.
Okay, great. Bud?
So I would say probably the budget, the books, and the growth of the town. We've got to slow it down. It's growing exponentially, and we've got to do something to slow it down.
Okay, and Jerry?
Yeah, the budget, the auditing and that sort of thing is priority one. And then from there, like the others, the growth and regulating the growth to coincide with the size of the community. And that would be everything from the fire department to the staff that makes up the infrastructure of this building.
Okay, thank you. Walter, how do you plan to keep the mill rate even or reduced by still maintaining essential services and dealing with the cost increases faced by all of us as well as the town services?
Well, we have to look at everything that we have ahead of us. One thing we can't get away from is our school cost. I think that's 73% of our budget. And I guess that those impact fees that I was talking about would come in pretty handy. Right now, there are none, so that's going to help with any further subdivisions or anything over 3 homes. You just have to make adjustments. There's wants and needs, and you run it like you would your own checkbook at home. If you want something versus what you need, that's what it comes down to. You know, I need a new driveway, but I also need new windows. So what do I take first, you know? It's the same thing. You just run the town like you would your own checkbook.
Lori?
I think it really boils down to getting all of the financials settled, but, you know, really watching the spending, because in some areas, there's no control on spending, and there's areas where it isn't needed. And I'm going to use the library as an example. That department has been great throughout watching, with the budget committee, you know, watching them live within their budget. When they come in, we don't really have to study the ledgers and everything because we know that they're going to be within. They do a great job of it. There are other departments that abuse their spending privileges. So I think it's like Rick said, you have to treat it like your own home checkbook and decide what is a need, what the priority of that need is versus what the wants are. And if we want to lower taxes, the wants need to be the first ones cut.
Okay. Bud?
So I agree with that. The wants and the nice-to-have stuff, that needs to be quelled. Everybody here has to live within a budget. And as our taxes go up, a lot of people's budgets go down. So they're feeling the bite. And that's why it's really important to try and figure out how to control this so that it's not going up every year. And controlling spending is going to be the biggest portion of this. And just saying that, you know, we're going to have an increase of this amount across the boards and all of this stuff, we can't do that. We have to take the townspeople into consideration before we just start spending like drunken sailors.
Okay. Jerry?
The mill rate, and nobody wants to hear it, but it's virtually impossible to lower taxes. You've established a budget on the amount of money that is received. And as far as the mill rate, no one has a crystal ball that can see into the future to see what the economics of the state and the county are going to be. And when the state, if there were a recession and the town would be getting less from the state, or if economic changes happen all the time. So it's very difficult to say how you would control the mill rate. It truly is. Yes, I totally agree. The wants need to really, really be looked at. And we need to budget like at home. But as far as throwing the mill rate in there, as we all here have seen economic changes in our state, in our county, in our school, and so that mill rate changes.
Okay. Wade?
Yeah, we were fortunate enough this year to keep it, the mill rate flat. I do agree that the outside, like the school budget, the county budget, everything like that, I'm sad to say, but it's pretty much out of our control. We do need to watch our spending here. We have all of our, the plowing, the trash pickup, everything else, which is essential needs for the town. It's a tricky situation. Everything's going up. We're going to have to cut somewhere, but there's a lot of needs that we can't cut, like the roads, the trash, stuff like that.
Okay. Lori, what is your position on staffing and funding the fire and EMS for overnight and during storms? Do you believe the overnight staffing should be cut? And how important is funding and support of fire and EMS services to you?
We definitely need to have services. We need to have people on staff, absolutely. I can't speak to whether we should be cutting people right now or adding people because I don't know the exact staffing levels around the clock for the fire department, and I wouldn't even want to guess at this point. But I do think that the town needs to have staffing, qualified staffing around the clock.
Okay. Bud?
I believe that there should be 24/7 staffing, no doubt about that, especially with, not to be derogatory, but with the aging population of the town, we need to have people here. Now, I don't know how many people they have on 24/7 or what their staffing is, but we definitely need to have qualified people in the building 24/7.
Okay. Jerry?
I'd have to be on the same page. We talk about the growth of the community, and we absolutely need 24/7 staffing. I myself don't know how many we have. It appears that we have an adequate number. I just don't know.
Okay. Wade?
Yes, it's what the taxpayers voted for. They want 24-hour service. I think that right now we're fully staffed. All the hours are covered. Usually there's 2 to 3 people in the fire station at all times. And I think the way I am, if the people voted for it and they want it, then we financially find the best way that we can give them what they want.
Okay. Walter?
Yes, 24/7. This is something that we need. It's a need.
Okay, great. Bud, how do you feel the town should plan for aging residents and increase medical calls?
Well, number one, making sure that we have staffing to take care of the people. That's a good question. I don't have a real good answer for that one.
Okay. Jerry?
staffing is one portion, and I feel comfortable that our fire department and EMS work well with other communities to assist in those calls for our elder residents.
Wade?
Question again.
Of course. How do you feel the town should plan for aging residents and increase medical calls?
Well, we're fully staffed. I know that we have, I believe, not real sure of this, but I believe there's 4 more EMTs that are on staff than over last year. And just make sure we stay full staffed and we have everything that they need to operate with, safety gear and medical equipment.
Okay, perfect. Walter?
Yes, I believe our staffing is adequate, and I do believe that we have a $400,000 ambulance in the pipeline, so I think we're headed in the right direction. I think we got it covered.
Okay, and Lori?
We are fully staffed, and I think, you know, as long as we remain fully staffed with qualified personnel to handle medical emergencies, and of course, continuing good relations with neighboring communities, because I know right now we rely on them, they rely on us. And I think that just needs to continue, and we need to make sure that our personnel is qualified.
Perfect. Jerry, how do you balance growth and development with preserving the town's rural character?
I feel that a building moratorium should be applied, and the planning board work closely with a moratorium and laying out developing sites that would not impede historical value, and try to keep the town within reason, because growth is growth, but keep the town within reason to its historical footprint.
Wade?
I agree with Jerry. We need to have the moratorium. You know, we need some growth. We need, people do need houses, but we don't need any of the 100-lot subdivisions which they've tried to, or are planning on putting into town. We don't need that. We can't, with what it costs per student, you know, $4,000 a piece for a student, we don't need, we would be broke pretty fast.
Okay. Walter?
I think this is where the impact fees are going to come in to help us a lot on these subdivisions. We've got room for growth, but as long as the burden doesn't come down onto the residents, existing residents, I think we can handle it with the impact fees. My suggestion would be if you're going to have a 12-lot subdivision and you got a 2-bedroom home, that would be a $15,000 impact fee. And if you go to a 3-bedroom, because that's going to bring in a minimum of 2 children, I would go $20,000. That's only going to last 1 year, and then you're going to start getting tax money from that home. But it's the cost of sending children to the schools that's really hurting us.
Okay. Lori?
I think the moratorium is a really good idea. And I do like the idea of the impact fees and doing it based on.
It's a one-time thing on the developer.
Right, and, you know, and it is a one-time fee. But I think working with the planning board and zoning, just really to make sure that we aren't destroying the historical homes or any historical properties to allow extra building on. I think those need to kind of be safeguarded.
Okay, great. Bud?
So you're never going to stop growth. We've talked about moratoriums. I agree with Walter about the impact fees. I think that's a good idea. Even if you just come out and say, all right, we're only going to allow X amount of units to be built per year, and slow it down that way, that's probably going to be one of the easiest ways to do it, other than just say, we're not going to build anything, period, for 2 years. So that would be my train of thought.
Okay, great. Wade, are there any town services you believe need more funding or any that should be viewed for efficiency?
Any town departments? Is that what you said?
Services. It says, are there
Town
any town
services?
services you believe need more funding or any that should be viewed for efficiency?
I think they should all be viewed for efficiency every year, and we have some really good department heads. All the services that we have, they all stay within their budget, yeah, I think we should look at every department or every service every year to make sure we're getting the best deal we can for the best value.
Walter?
Yes, I'd be checking for efficiency every year. Other than that, I would have to have some numbers in front of me to state anything any further.
Okay. Lori?
What was the question?
Are there any town services you believe need more funding or any that should be viewed for efficiency?
I think all of the departments should be viewed for efficiency. And every department could always use more funding, but I don't think at this point the town can afford it.
Okay. Bud?
There should be an annual review of just about every service that we have to make sure that everything is being provided as said according to the contract or whatever it is, whatever the department is, however it's run. As far as anything that should get more funding, the only thing I've heard people talk about in talking to some of the individuals I know around the lake is there seems to be, they thought there should be a little bit more for Parks and Rec for the kids. Some other sporting things, stuff going on over there. That was about the only one I've heard as far as more funding.
Okay. Jerry?
We have to increase funding each year for each department via COLA. That's understandable. We do need each department to submit to the budget committee an itemized line where they're spending their money. Generally just submitting, this is my budget, and walk away, I find is unacceptable. That is where we would find if a department, some departments may be under budgeting themselves, and some may be gouging the system. So each year, again, we do have to increase because of COLA and cost of living and all those things. But I would like to see each department submit a line item of where they're spending their money.
Okay, great. All right, Walter, what is your view on ADUs, accessory dwelling units?
Say that again, please.
What is your view on ADUs, which stands for accessory dwelling units? They're the second homes that people can build on their properties.
Well, I think if it's for your parents or family member that's in need or handicapped or something like that, I think that would be okay with me to
Okay.
do that.
Lori?
I think there would have to be a size limitation for the property. Obviously, you don't want to have a half-acre property with 2 houses on it. But I think a lot of families could benefit from being able to build an ADU on their property to have family close.
Okay. Bud?
I think it's a good idea as long as you have the lot size, you meet all of the codes for the town of Limerick, and it is not, I repeat, it is not going to be a rental property.
Jerry?
ADUs was a great concept. There needs to be extensive planning before allowing ADUs. ADUs, the concept of providing a resident for an elder parent or that sort of thing. But my fear, if not controlled by zoning and structure, what happens when the property gets sold, when the original people pass on? Are we going to have these small rental properties all of a sudden that are not maintained? And so I'm for the concept, but I really strongly suggest a lot of guidance in allowing an ADU to be built just anywhere.
Wade?
Yes, as long as they meet all zoning and lot size, and I'm for them.
Okay. Lori, how do you keep residents informed and involved between elections?
Well, hopefully we can get them coming to meetings. That would be a really good start. But, there is keeping them informed. If it's something really important, it should go in the shopper's guide. The town should hold a meeting and have it advertised in the paper to let everybody know, because the shopper's guide goes to everybody. You don't have to subscribe to it. All the residents get it. I just think it's really important that, aside from televising and having meetings, we've got the Town of Limerick website that right now, I believe it's Dee Dee that's posting on it. Or is it you? Mm-hmm. Oh,
Gail and I.
okay.
Yep.
That you update. But I think that's a great place to update the community. But I also know that there is a lot of people in our community that are not on Facebook. They are not on any type of social media. And the only way they have to find out what's going on in the town or that something is coming up is through the shopper's guide.
Okay. Bud?
So I believe printed media, like the shopper's guide, social media that you handle, the televised media, I believe those are all good ways. But I also don't think it wouldn't be a bad idea to maybe quarterly have like a town hall meeting. Now, I know we don't have a big enough area to do it, but I don't think a town hall meeting, like I said, quarterly is a bad idea, because then you can get a lot of people to show up and you can get a lot of input. That's my feeling on it.
Okay. Jerry?
The printed media, the social media of the website, and signage. We have a lot of businesses in town. People frequent the Limerick supermarket, people frequent different J.P. Carroll Fuels, different places. I think if we could create some sort of a media outlet board that could be posted at the post office, the Limerick supermarket, different places where people go on a day-to-day basis, that somebody could jump out at them and say, oh, I need to take time to look at that. I think that would be a major plus.
Okay. Wade?
I think everybody pretty much covered it.
Walter?
Everything that we've got now, but one thing I'd like to see that I haven't seen is on the Channel 5, maybe they would add a calendar to that. I mean, there's always the date and the time of a meeting that's coming up, but if a certain town has something specific, that would be nice just to turn it on and it kind of scrolls down through, you know? That would be a positive thing.
Great. Bud, what does transparency mean to you when it comes to town contracts, staffing, and spending?
I mean exactly what it means. The townspeople and taxpayers, they need to know exactly what's going on. So when it comes to the contracts or bidding processes or anything like that, they need to be involved. They need to know what's going on. And transparency is exactly what it says. You're not trying to hide anything. You're upfront and honest with the townspeople.
Okay. Jerry?
Pretty much the same. Transparency to me for the bidding process is not to tell the people that there's a bid going out, but a breakdown and cost and amounts and keep the people informed as the bids come in. And any issue that we have, that keep the people informed.
Okay. Wade?
Question?
What does transparency mean to you when it comes to town contracts, staffing, and spending?
Just be honest and everything out in the open and make all the details available for anybody that wants to see them. Just be honest about it.
Okay. Perfect. Walter?
Yeah, same thing. Everything's got to be available to everybody.
Okay. And Lori?
I mean, they've kind of covered it. You know, it's a lot of, you know, being willing to communicate the information. You know, if somebody wants to ask, you can't, transparency is not saying, well, I'll get back to you, or here's part of it. You know, giving people the whole picture instead of just little bits and pieces.
Okay, great. 5 more. All right, Jerry, what is an unpopular but necessary decision you think the town will face in the next few years?
Without doubt, the budget.
Okay. Wade?
Like Jerry said, the budget and what direction we're going to go in as far as town manager, and if we're going to go that route or what we're going to do. As the town grows, we're going to need to have more oversight.
Walter?
I would say the direction for a town manager would be a big decision.
Lori?
It's getting late, so will you repeat it?
No, of course. What is an unpopular but necessary decision you think the town will face in the next few years?
Yeah, I think it's going to come down to a town manager type of issue, but also I think with costs rising and the way everything is growing, the various services that are available are going to have to be looked at and maybe see if there's anywhere where we can cut back.
Bud?
I would say the two things I believe are going to be a problem in the next couple of years. Number one is going to be the decision about a town manager, and two, if the town keeps on growing, the water district.
Okay. Wade, are there specific areas where you believe the town could save money or operate more efficiently?
Yeah, we could cut our legal bills down. That's been a big minus on our accounts for, well, ever since I've been involved. We don't need any more major things, but yeah, I think that, and like I said, all the department heads, most of them are either at their budget from last year or below. So I would say we need to cut our legal bills down and watch our spending.
Okay. Walter?
I'm going to lean towards the electrical bills that we have coming in. This building here and the fire station, I think you're looking at a couple $1,000s a month just for those two buildings. I've been involved in some projects recently that have worked out pretty good. I would like to bring more information to the town, whether I hold this position or not, and I will do that so that somebody that's on the board can make a decision. Electrical is a big thing.
Okay. Lori?
I'm going to have to agree with Wade and go with the legal bills. They're out of control. But I would love to see line item accounting for the fire department to see if we could cut back spending there.
Okay.
And I'm not referring to personnel or equipment. I'm just talking niceties, comforts.
Okay. Bud?
I'm going to be that person. Could you repeat the question?
Of course. Are there specific areas where you believe the town could save money or operate more efficiently?
Number one, I think some of the contracts that we award, I think, looking at the bidding process, I believe we could probably improve that a little bit. As Wade said, legal fees are ridiculous. And I'm kind of curious about some of the town-owned buildings. What are we spending as far as heat and electricity on these buildings?
Jerry?
I'd have to reflect with the other members on legal bills that we have accumulated and seem to be rising each year, and other reductions, looking at our contracts, some of our contracts, and see if there was some trimming that we could do to tighten the belt a little there.
Okay, great. Walter, what are your priorities regarding road maintenance and winter operations?
Just that we have them cleared in the winter, so it's safe. I mean, it's nothing extraordinary. It's what we expect as residents. I think we're doing pretty good this year compared to the past. As far as the roads, the road construction in the summer and the paving, I think we just need to make sure that what we do is done correctly. And just for example, if you said, well, we project that we're going to pave 12 miles of road this year, and we only end up doing 9 because we ran into a problem, but we did it correctly. Well, then that's the way it is. We got 9 in, we did it right, and we don't go back to the town asking them for more money. We just take off from there next year and continue. We set a budget and stick to it.
Lori?
Will you read it again?
Yep. What are your priorities regarding road maintenance and winter operations?
Really just staying on top of the roads in the winter, making sure that they are cleared in a timely fashion of ice and snow. And, you know, as far as road maintenance during the summer, I would love to see contract or RFPs go out sooner in the year. You know, the budget committee already received a proposal for their budget of, here's what we want to do, now's the time to be getting quotes or estimates, or getting the proposals in so that we can get them scheduled, so we can get them started earlier in the year, so we can actually complete the projects by the end of the year, so we don't have excess funds every year rolling back and then having to vote to bring them back in and flip-flopping money around.
Okay. Bud?
So I would say, as far as winter maintenance, the safety of the townspeople is paramount. A lot of people, they have no choice. They have to go to work. They don't work remotely. They have to be able to get there, and the roads need to be safe and passable. So that is very critical. As far as the maintenance goes, we just have to stay on top of the conditions of the roads. As Lori said about getting the bids in early, or the requests for the bids in the contracts in early. And I understand that you're always going to have, it's typical you're going to have cost overruns, but there needs to be wording in a lot of these contracts that kind of protects the town if it gets out of hand, like it did with one of the roads that was done here a couple of years ago.
Okay. Jerry?
It's the winter maintenance, and our, reflecting back to contracts, there's a little hiccup, a little oversight in our plowing contract, winging back the roads at night, winging back the roads during the day. It only makes sense to have the contractor wing the roads, wing the snowbanks back during the day, but it can be done in a safe manner, and not interfering with people's properties. And as far as our maintenance of our roads, when our road commissioner goes out to maintain the roads, he has a program, a schedule, and the world is what it is. If there is a catastrophic weather condition that changes the environment and postpones a project or whatever, we have to be open-minded and be able to accept that there's only one God, and it's not the road commissioner.
Wade?
As far as the winter maintenance go, just make sure that they're plowed in a timely fashion, that they're sanded, and make sure that the contracts, as far as the material that they need on hand, is there. That they're keeping up to that end of it. And the road maintenance, like Jerry said, they're on a schedule. And if anything pops up, I'm sure that they will be right there to fix it.
Great. Lori, what is your vision for the town of Limerick over the next 5 to 10 years?
I would love for it to stay little. I see it growing, but I also see the community getting a lot more involved over the next few years, and helping the board and, helping the town decide how they want it to grow, how they want, what kind of activities they want. While I see it growing, I also see a lot more community members coming together to work together to make it a happy, safe community.
Bud?
I'm sorry, repeat it.
Oh, of course. What is your vision for the town of Limerick over the next 5 to 10 years?
More community unity, maybe some more functions that involve the entire community, and slow the growth and keep it affordable to live here.
Great. Jerry?
More, as we grow, growth that is a better tax structure than just homes. I would like to see businesses be encouraged to come to Limerick and thrive and create jobs and pay taxes that businesses pay. And infrastructure on water and parks and recs and, yeah.
Great. Wade?
There again, I think everybody covered. No, I'd like to see the overall town, everybody able to get along, work together for the betterment of the town and the betterment of the community, and just not worry about their own personal agendas.
And Walter?
I don't want to lose the hometown feeling, but I certainly would love to see a pizza shop in town. And I think we could probably do it with a car wash,
24-hour fuel.
you know? Yeah, we got to think of our water and sewer infrastructure, and maybe see where we're at with all this money stuff, and maybe take a look at our ball fields, you know? There's nothing better than going down, watching your kids play, your grandkids play in a decent field and on a good summer night, right? I mean, it's, keep that feeling. But yeah, we got a beautiful town here. We got the lake. It's just a matter of which way we go with it. Lot of good opportunities.
Great. Thank you all. I think that was a great discussion. I will now give you each candidate up to 5 minutes to offer any closing remarks and share any final messages you'd like with voters. We'll start with Bud.
So my wife thinks I'm crazy for doing this, but I'm hoping that I can offer something to the town to make it better. That's all.
Great. Jerry?
Growing up here in town and knowing a lot of the folks, there's a lot of new folks that's moved in, but a lot of folks know me, know my background. I am visually impaired. I have never allowed my disability to be called a disability. I graduated high school. I worked in a lot of jobs before going to the Portsmouth Naval Shipyard. In pursuit of better income and growth for my family, I rose to the level of radiological supervisor. I never have let my vision become a problem. When I took my radiological skills test, the only eye requirement was that I could read the numbers in a pocket dosimeter to know how much radiation I was absorbing in an environment. So my vision will not hinder my position as your select board.
Wade?
Quick question again.
This is just your final closing remarks.
Oh, my
Anything you want to
final
say
closing
to,
remarks.
it's not even a
Okay.
quack, just what you
Okay.
want to say to voters.
I just like the opportunity to serve the town some more. I love the town. Pretty much, if anybody has any questions, I'll give you an honest answer. But just looking forward to serving again.
Walter?
Well, as a fifth generation of Limerick, I would love to pass my home on to my grandson and make him number 6. Love to retire here and just make it a nice, functional town. And hopefully, if elected, I can bring some positive to the board and the town. Thank you.
Lori?
Well, as a first generation in Limerick, and 2 generations after me that are consistently at our house, I'm hoping that, that I can serve on the board, serve the people. I want to be able to help the town in an open manner and try to bring the board back together, try to bring the town together again, to make this a really positive place to live and be proud to live.
Great. Thank you all. On behalf of the Select Board, thank you to all of our candidates for stepping forward to serve and to share your time and perspectives with us tonight. Thank you as well to our residents for being engaged and informed voters for sending in the question. Your participation brought great forum tonight. Please remember to vote on Election Day, Friday, March 13th from 8 to 8 here at the Municipal Building. Absentee ballots will begin on Wednesday, February 11th. You can get those with the town clerk. Thank you all. Have a safe and wonderful evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.